Yo, what is up, y'all? It's Cone back here again tonight with another episode of After the Buzzer, the show where I recap the NBA games from the night. Before I get into it, please leave a like and subscribe if you do enjoy. A lot of y'all that watch these videos are not subscribed, so definitely make sure to hit that button. But we had game 2 of the NBA Finals tonight, Celtics versus Warriors, and last game, the Celtics kind of punched the Warriors in the mouth. The Warriors went up by double digits heading into the fourth quarter, and the Celtics became the first team in Finals history to go from down double digits heading into the fourth to winning by double digits at the end of the game. It's never been done before the Celtics did it. Al Horford went crazy, Derek White went crazy, Jason Tatum really struggled to score the ball, given he was great playmaking, but the Celtics won. Jason Tatum had an awful shooting performance and they still won, which wasn't a great sign for the Golden State Warriors, including the fact that Curry, albeit he struggled a little bit in the second half, overall had a very good game. Of course, Draymond Green really struggled. Clay wasn't great, and Jordan Poole wasn't great either. So there was a little bit on each side. But after game 1, I was a little worried for the Warriors because sure, they weren't going to shoot that well from 3 again. Draymond himself said that on his podcast. But even so, they were just getting good looks. Their offensive movement was really, really good. The Celtics, that is. Defensively, they were really locking up. The Warriors were settling a lot. Although, despite all of that, while I did think that it was a good sign for the Celtics, coming into this game, I fully expected the Warriors to bounce back. This is a series that I think is going to go 7 games, so I didn't think that the Celtics were going to be up 2-0 going back to Boston. That probably would have been a death sentence for the Warriors. But coming into this one, while I did expect the Warriors to win, I didn't expect them to win like this. Ended up winning by 19 points, and that's a little deceiving. The only reason it was 19 is because Nick Stauskas was giving the Warriors buckets in garbage time minutes. This was a close one for the first half. Jason Tatum was playing really well in this game. Way better offensively. He ended up with 28 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. Jaylen Brown had 17 points, but it was pretty inefficient, so he struggled a bit. Marcus Smart, only 2 points. Derek White did have 12, so he was still showing out. But really, it was kind of just Jason Tatum on his own tonight, which really hurt the Celtics because Tatum was eventually going to miss a couple shots, and if no one else is helping him out, there's not much he can do. He can't 1v5 them, and that really showed in the third quarter. Now, the Golden State Warriors have been well documented that the third quarter that's their quarter. That's when they shine the most. They have their first half game plan. They go into halftime. They see what they need to change, make adjustments, and then just punch you in the mouth in the third quarter. And the way to beat them is to try and withstand that and then kind of come back a little bit in the fourth. That's what the Celtics did. They kept it within striking distance last game when the Warriors once again beat them down in the third quarter. And then the fourth quarter, just took that win. Last game, it worked. This game, the Warriors were on a whole nother level. The third quarter Warriors are just completely unstoppable, especially when you combine that with the fact that the Celtics have struggled in third quarters this series, or even this season, excuse me. That's kind of been one of their weaker quarters. It's not a great matchup, and so this might continue to be a trend, but today they outscored the Celtics by 21 points in the third quarter, and it was a combination of a lot of things. Steph Curry was insane. He continues to be the frontrunner clearly for Finals MVP with 29, 6, and 4, knocking down clutch 3 after clutch 3. Kevon Looney had 12 and 7. He grabbed a ton of rebounds to keep the thing going. Wiggins had 11 and 6, including some great defense. Gary Payton II had great defense all over. Nemanja Bjelica came in. He was playing well. Draymond Green, given he only scored 9 and had 7 dimes, he played phenomenal defensively. And to me, that was what really showed in the third quarter. Sure, they started splashing shots. Jordan Poole hit a half-court 3. He was a lot better today, by the way. So the offense was absolutely going, but their defense was really what kind of sparked that whole thing. Because at one point, it just felt like the Celtics didn't know they had to hold on to the basketball. Like they were just giving it away. There was one possession where they got a steal, immediately gave it back up. The Warriors ran down and got a 3 like wide open on the next possession. They were just so careless with the ball all throughout this game, and really in the third quarter, it caught up with them. The Warriors did a great job of just stifling them defensively, making them take tough shots, securing the rebound to prevent offensive rebounds and second chance opportunities, limiting them in transition, and just really being active with their hands to get a lot of steals, get a lot of stops, and ultimately turning that into offensive scores down on the other end. It was impressive. It was exactly what they need to do. Last game, the Celtics kind of felt like they tired out the Warriors a little bit, started to get a lot of those steals, and that was what happened in the fourth quarter. Today, the Warriors did the same thing just a quarter earlier, and really, this game was over by the end of the third quarter. Sure, the Celtics theoretically could have come back, but it wasn't happening, especially when at the beginning of the third quarter, the Celtics went down by nearly 30 points. It was over from pretty early on in this one, especially compared to last game when the Celtics made that big comeback. And I'm sure Warriors fans are kicking themselves right now because if the Warriors just didn't have a literal historic collapse, they could be up 2-0 going into Boston. Of course, that's not how it works. So Boston did take one in Golden State. I still think they're in a pretty good spot, but they've got to figure out this third quarter thing. Because if the Warriors are going to continue to kill you in third quarters, they're not going to give up comebacks like they did in game one all the time. It's not going to happen. This is too much of an experienced team that's been here and done this before to continuously give up double-digit leads heading into the fourth quarter and ultimately losing. It's just not going to happen. You've got to be able to take leads into the fourth quarter. You can't be down by 20 and expect to come back. It's not going to happen. So the Celtics have got to figure that out. They've done a great job the past two games of keeping it close at the end of the first half. It's been really close at the end of both first halves, but that third quarter, the Warriors just keep hitting them hard after the first two games. Last game, they had the firepower, but it took a historic comeback to win. So now, if it's going to keep happening like this, they're in big trouble. You can't have the Warriors go up by double digits every third quarter. You just can't do it. So whether they have to make better adjustments, just do a better job at game planning for what the Warriors do, or just making quicker adjustments out of timeouts, or out of halftime, when they see what the Warriors are doing differently, come out with that same energy. You can't get tired. You can't be satisfied being close at the end of a half. You've got to go into the third quarter with that same intensity that you ended the half with. And they really didn't. It felt like they got lackadaisical. Like I said, they became so careless with the ball. And this has been something that we've seen over the course of these playoffs. When the Celtics limit turnovers, they usually win. But there are those games every now and again where they just start throwing the ball around. Guys will have like 4 or 5 turnovers in the first quarter. They'll have like double-digit turnovers or close to it by the end of the half, and it starts to snowball. It reaches a point where if you just keep turning the ball over, you're going to eventually lose. You can't lose the turnover battle to a team that has such a potent offense like the Golden State Warriors. They've got so many guys that can run in transition, that can pull it for 3, that can attack the basket and kick out for a 3, and those guys are going to knock those down. You can't give up that many turnovers. They've got to be better with the ball, and they can't just come into these third quarters kind of just hanging out. That was kind of what showed to me for the Celtics. They also need a lot more aggression from some of these guys. The Warriors did a really good job of being a lot more physical today and kind of wearing out the Celtics by the end of this one, which is kind of what it felt like the Celtics did to the Warriors last game. It felt like they kind of got up on them, were really pushing them around, and then by the fourth quarter, the Warriors were tired and kind of settling for shots. It kind of felt like that happened in reverse in this one. Al Horford, who was incredible last game, really struggled with just 2 points and 8 rebounds. Marcus Smart had 2 points. Robert Williams had 2 points. And when 3 of your starters combine for 6 points, you're not going to win. You're just not going to win. Like I said, Derek White was pretty good with 12 points, but really they just need the starters to be better. Robert Williams only played 14 minutes. He was limited due to his knee injury that has kind of flared up a little bit after the surgery that he got earlier in these playoffs. So hopefully he's able to play more minutes going forward. But if he is not, that's a big problem because his ability to roam the paint and make those inside shots difficult is huge for them. They need him to be healthy if they want to win this series, or at least playing more than 14 minutes a game. On the Warriors side of the ball, towards the end, they kept Klay Thompson in despite being this huge blowout because Klay was really bad today. Not that it mattered because they won, but they kept him in to try and help him find his rhythm. He did knock down a few shots. They're going to need Klay to be Klay, or at least a decent version of Klay to really win this series. At least quicker than maybe like 7. They need Klay to be a pretty good version of himself, so keeping him in to get rhythm does make sense. Like I said, Jordan Poole played a lot better. He still was getting a little targeted on defense, but it was a lot less. They did a better job of kind of covering that, and he just played a little bit stronger on that end. He was a lot more aggressive. He was attacking more. Like I said, he really knocked down that kind of the dagger at the end of the third quarter when he hit that three. I think that put them up 23 points, which at that point in a finals game, you're just not going to come back from. So he was a lot better. Gary Payton II, phenomenal. What he did, having him available and playing these minutes is so big for the Warriors. They kind of had enough offense. What they really needed was to get stops. And so with Gary Payton II and Jordan Poole, what you can kind of do is you can, if you need to stop or if they just keep scoring and you need help defensively, you put him in. If you need some extra offense, a little bit of kick, you can put Jordan Poole in. And so having those two guys to swap out just gives you more versatility in the range of scenarios that you might be in a finals game. So him coming back is absolutely huge. And it really showed tonight. He played phenomenal defense. There were so many plays where Jason Tatum just hit shots over him, but Gary Payton II made him work for each and every bucket that he got. And so by the end of the game, although he's got like 28 points, it doesn't matter because no one else is hitting shots. And eventually he's going to miss some of those super contested ones. He's also playing great defense on the other guys that he got switched on to. Just all in all, a great defensive game from the Warriors, limiting the Celtics to just 88 points. Big win for the Golden State Warriors. Going back to Boston tied 1-1. You know, it's not what the Warriors probably wanted. For the Celtics, I think you live with that going back 1-1. Really excited for games 3 and 4 back in Boston. I think we've got another 2 or 3 day wait for those games. So I'll drop some content, of course, in the meantime, which means subscribe so you don't miss out on basketball over these next few days. Also, please leave a like if you did enjoy. Those are my takeaways from the games and my thoughts. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below. If you made it to this point in the video, drop a shout out GP2 in the comments to let me know you made it to the end. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I appreciate y'all watching, and I will see you all later. Real one, say it back.